Esther Anyakun got 16,200 votes, and this Lily Lopua, who was the second, the one who contested with her, got 11,500 votes. And then she has decided that she needs to come and petition. Let's first listen to what she had to say.
Our elections, because of the irregularities, there was no transparency during our election. The voting, can you imagine? The voting went up to midnight. The counting, it was in a hidden kind of a room where it was not exposed. So that day of election, I am not pleased on how the process was being taken. These elections was not reflecting the will of the people. So therefore, I am petitioning for what happened that day, that is in Nakapriprit district. When we arrived, we were blocked by the security that was at the gate before entering the tally room. And when we came to the tally center, people were locked out, that is at the compound. And then we realized it was only the presiding, and then I think the parish supervisors were inside that room. So whatever was happening in the room, we don't know. What is making me wonder of this election that it was not fair on my side, my opponent was free to enter in that room. That is Honorable Anyakun. She was entering, exiting, coming out, and then the RDC asked off. And I really needed this election to be fair and free, but all those were not seen, according to me.
This election was our victory, but we were robbed because of processes which were in place. The election does not reflect the will of the people, and we want to challenge the process. I want to tell you, so many things happened. There was voter intimidation, there was vote stuffing, and a lot other irregularities which you will see. You cannot imagine that a polling official is a presiding officer in the same station and also signs as an agent of the candidate who has been declared.
Well, Mildred, that petition has now been filed here at the High Court sitting in Moroto here by our lawyer. But I have to say that the election for Nakapriprit was a highly contested one, and it's only Esther Anyakun made it through, but the rest of the incumbents, including Minister Lokeris and Aleper Moses for Chekwi East and Chekwi County, respectively, were thrown out.
All right, thank you for that updates coming through. We'll wait to see how that definitely goes, remembering that the current parliament has just a month and a few weeks to be winding up. Let's talk matters education now, where the 2025 Uganda Advanced Certificate of Examination results, call it USCE, have been released, showing an overall improvement in performance in 2025 compared to the previous year, 24, in terms of the number of principal level passes. A high percentage of 98.9% qualified to the USCE certificate, and UNEB also registered few cases of exam malpractice, reflecting strengthened supervision mechanisms and enhanced security protocols. More on this, let's get to Ramson Mohire. Good afternoon, Ramson.
Yes, good afternoon to you, Mildred. And it is true, the results for USCE exams for 2025 have been officially released, and parents or schools that want to access these results can now officially visit UNEB website to pick out or to check out those results. But of course, those of you that have already, or if you know someone that have already used the codes that are given by different service providers like Airtel and MTN, now they are open to being used. But of course, results did say over 166,000 registered for exam, but of course there were those that missed out exams. But we continue to see more female candidates sit for A-level. This time around, there were about 56.3 compared to the female candidates who are 43. But Mildred and the viewers of NBS, it is important to note that much as these more male candidates sit for A-level, normally at O-level, the figures are always different. We have about 52 or 53 females sit for O-level compared to about 47 male candidates who sit for O-level. But this time around, we are seeing more male candidates sitting for A-level compared to more females. So an indication that probably some female candidates get to disappear between O-level and sitting A-level, something that needs to be considered. But also, UNEB did note a significant, a number of candidates are absorbed in humanities subjects. That is, we are talking about history, we are talking about geography, we are talking about fine art, we are talking about CRE, and a few of these candidates who did sit for STEM, and they call them STEM, but these are science subjects, the likes of physics, mathematics, biology, chemistry, agriculture, and others. And they have echoed here that something needs to be done, and a multi-stakeholder engagement or deliberate efforts to make sure that emphasis is put on science subjects. Of course, UNEB, alongside the Ministry of Education, do recognize the importance of having science subjects, have learners, because they understand the trends that are happening across the globe, that the importance of science. So they are saying this needs to be given a keen eye, of course, if the country is going to achieve its targets of having more science people engaged in across the country. We know that government has put this as emphasis. That's how we have science teachers, being paid more money than arts teachers. So probably they still have to do more for the money they get to ensure that enrollment does not just take place in arts, and there seems to be more enrollment in science. But of course, we have more female candidates pass humanities, and also more male candidates pass science subjects. And of course, 68.2% of candidates that sat did qualify for 2 principal passes at least, and this means they can easily qualify for admission into institutions of higher learning. But the Minister for Education, Janet Museveni, noted that while people might be running for these institutions, there are opportunities in vocational study institutions, where she says graduates from these institutions tend to be easily adopted in the working world, or sometimes have the capacity to create their own jobs, and encourage some of the candidates or people that do now move from A-level and are looking for opportunities to take this branch. But of course, Mildred and the viewers of NBS, it is just live at 1. We have more bulletins coming on at NBS, and the details of this story surely will be coming up in those particular stories. Mildred, I want to get back to you at the Political Command Center.
Ramson Mohire for National Unity Platform Ticket has petitioned the High Court in Luwero seeking to nullify the election of Sarah Najuma of the National Resistance Movement, NRM. According to the results from the January 15th polls 2026, the election announced by Ida Tusime, the returning officer for the district of Nakaseke, Najuma received 55,455 votes, while Nakaoya polled 26,873. In her petition, Nakaoya alleges widespread irregularities, including altered figures, inflated voter turnout, and discrepancies in return forms issued by the Electoral Commission, and also claims these anomalies occurred in at least 98 polling stations. Nakaoya is now asking court to annul the results, declare the election invalid, and also order a fresh poll in the district. Let's take a look.
As law-abiding citizens and leaders who have chosen the constitutional and legal path to seek justice, this matter goes beyond Esther Nakaoya. It concerns the protection of the democratic rights and the will of the people of Nakaseke district. Electoral integrity is the foundation of good governance, accountability, and public trust. We therefore call upon the judiciary to ensure a fair, impartial, and timely hearing of our petition. the Electoral Commission to cooperate fully and uphold transparency. We therefore call upon security agencies to guarantee the safety and freedom of our supporters and our witnesses. We therefore call upon the people of Nakaseke to remain peaceful and confident as we pursue justice through lawful means. We remain committed to democratic principles, the rule of law, and peaceful political engagement. Our struggle is not only for this election, but for the protection of democracy and the future of free and fair elections in Uganda. When you look at this, we have a ground of 100% voter turnout. At some polling stations, presiding officers reported a 100% voter turnout. The credibility of the results. Another ground is forgery and irregularities on declaration forms. Although we duly appointed polling agents across the district, the following irregularities were identified. Some JARA forms bear forged signatures of our agents. In several cases, the handwriting of the presiding officers and polling agents appears similar across the entire electoral area of Nakaseke North and, of course, some sub-counties in Nakaseke Central. Another ground is the inflated voter numbers.
Well, more and more petitions that are coming in, and the courts of law, of course, take the election petitions do take precedence over any others, and they will have to be dealt with in the shortest time possible. We'll keep you abreast with what does come through in that regard. For now, allow us to take a very short commercial break. We'll be right back.
Daddy. Okimanyi abaana batuuse okudda ku masomero naye ssente zibuze. Kakati ky'oba okola twalayo ekitundu kya fees ku ssomero lya junior. Eza van tunaazisasula oluvannyuma.
Naye Daddy, lwaki tetusasula nga tukozesa Momo? Etuwa n'omukisa oguwangula school fees za mwaka mulamba bweddu n'okusingawo. Ate nno mwattu osobola n'okufuna looni ya school fees ku Momo. Mpozi n'ekirala essomero erikozesa Momo lisobola okwewangulira van.
Kyekyo kyennyini wangula school fees wa mwaka mulamba. Galina omukisa okuwangula vaani ko n'ebirabo ebirala 1000. Osobola n'okufuna looni ya school fees ku Momo. Nyiga star *165 star 8 noti hashi oba kozesa Momo app.
Looking for a household cleaner that truly delivers? Meet our
from the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities. So my tourism journey began when I joined the institution, the Uganda Museum, in 1991 as a group employee. So tourism has changed my life in the way that that's where I earn a living, and that I have managed to educate my children. So my work impacts the community, that when people come, we teach them about the history of Uganda. When the younger joins the industry, they have to be passionate. I encourage women to work hard so that they can be able to sustain their families and to love each other.
One story.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for keeping it to NBS Television. And this is NBS Live at 1. I am Mildred Tuhaise. Now, in more news, in a continued effort to fight corruption in Uganda, the Inspectorate of Government has intensified its Operations Anti-Corruption campaign by involving young people, particularly students, in the secondary schools across the country. Officials say being able to strengthen advocacy and awareness among young citizens